Hello and welcome back to Project Cars 2. And you see, there's this thing in Englandland that's going on called the Goodwood Festival of Speed. That's a little too far away to go to on a yearly basis, and it costs about $1,000 just to go there, another $1,000 to stay there, and another couple hundred to get the tickets. So, it's not exactly practical to go there. Missed it by 12 hours last year. Most depressing days for many years. Anyway, I decided to do my own HILLCLIMB shootout because I can't do that one. So, improvise, adapt, and overcome. Now, this is going to be a wide variety of racing vehicles from all sorts of years, types, ages, all sorts of things. So we're not expecting a Ford Fiesta rallycross car or whatever to beat a Formula 1 car. But I thought it would be interesting to see how each car would compare one another in lap time. Alright, the slowest car of the day was, unsurprisingly, the Ginetta Junior car. I included this one because I've never really heard of Ginetta until Project Cars 2 came out. And I've never heard of this racing series. But it is kind of adorable, because it's a tiny little two-seater sports car with 100 horsepower. Yep, 100. Half the power, which is somehow less power than a Ford EcoSport. But, yeah, it does weigh just 2,000 pounds, so it is very light. And still very slow, barely gets over 105 down the straightaway there. But you can go flat out just about everywhere. It is flat out for the first half of the course, which it is the only car to be able to go flat out the entire course, and that up till that point. But it is also the slowest one by a fair margin, at a 2:16.9, you saw it earlier. I mean, it's a very nice handling car. You don't get any oversteer, because there's not enough power to get oversteer. What you do get is chronic understeer. Just the worst understeer I've ever driven on. It just doesn't get the front end turn. I'm not sure if it was because of my steering setup or anything like that, but it just did not want to go around corners. It wasn't like a dramatic, like super fast sudden understeer. It was just slow, won't turn, still won't turn, and we made the corner. So, yeah, you can see there, getting real close to the wall there. That one claimed a fair bit of paint. It did actually spit fire. I didn't think it was possible for a car with 100 horsepower to spit fire, but it spit fire. Yeah, it's a little slow for maybe this course, but yeah, this Azure stage is the one I'm using. It is pretty balanced, and this Ginetta, not bad for a car with 100 horsepower. Now, 9th place will go to our road car of the segment. I wanted to pick a road car just to see how it would compare. And the Z06 is a very good road car. I've been in the C5 version of this, and it's fantastic. But you see, here's the problem with Project Cars 2. The super hybrid race cars are fine with its handling system on the controller, which I use. I predominantly use the controller because the wheels is far too practical. But for the less grippy, more normal road cars, the handling is atrocious. It is just the snappiest thing on planet that doesn't have any grip. Since it's a super sim game, I had to be so horrendously careful around these corners, and breathing on the throttle and breathing on the steering too much will cause the car to spin out of control, crash against the wall, and then your lap's over. Your stage time is over, sorry. So it was nowhere near as fast as it could have been, but just the sheer handling of the car makes it super slow, because you have to have a clean lap, obviously. And you can see just subtle vibrations, the subtle back and forth motions of me trying to catch the car from oversteering when I'm at 60% throttle. It is the most terrifying 70 miles an hour you will ever experience. And you can't get above 140. This car's capable of over 200 miles an hour and carry so much corner speed for the money. It's fantastic. But on this game, its handling system just doesn't allow this car to be successful. And that's why it got the time that it got, 1:57.5. It's a little unfortunate, but that is how it happens occasionally. Alright, 8th place, we'll go to the GT40 Mark IV, the only All-American team to ever win Le Mans. And not only do I see this car all the time, I've seen this car get 7 or 8 times because it's at a good old Detroit, Michigan Henry Ford Museum, but in Project Cars 2, it's actually not too bad of a car to drive considering it's 51 years old. There's very few people in my family who are older than this car. Which is saying something. And it is a second and a bit faster than the Corvette we saw previous. Don't get me wrong, the handling still isn't too great with this car. It's still a bit wallowy, but again, it's from 1967. What can you expect? And it is very fast in a straight line, which makes it terrifying around these corners, because it can go over 220 miles an hour, and the suspension is still rather wobble-matic. It's better than most cars from the era, but it's still a wobbly thing. And you see there, almost got the back end sliding now. And if you get the back end sliding out in this game, you might as well just restart the run, because you're going into the wall. You can't catch it once the back end goes out. It's impossible to catch these cars. But if you get it early enough, and you don't let the back end go out more than X degrees, it's fine. And you saw it there. It is rather terrifying, because you're only going 80 miles an hour, but the back end is swirling around like 150 miles an hour. So it is quite terrifying. But if you get it right, you can do a pretty good time, like a 1:56.1. From your almost lost on the final point, which is very bad for lost here. Alright, 7th place will go to the Italians, the Lamborghini Diablo GTR. This is the racing version of the Diablo, which I forgot existed. Because I seem to recall Lamborghini saying they didn't want to race at this time, so they didn't. But apparently, I did read a story on this, that the Diablo did get a race car version. Never really competed, but it did get a race car version. And this is it, and it's actually a very fun car to drive. This is probably my favorite car to drive of all of them, because it has a fair amount of grip at the back, not enough to be overly confident, but enough to keep it on the road and still have a little bit of fun. It's got lots of speed, and then of course you can't go wrong with a Lamborghini V12, because it's a Lamborghini V12. And that V12 theory propelled it to a 151 dead, basically, which is pretty good for a 90s rear-wheel drive monster, such as this one. It is a little bit more civilized because it's a race car, but it's still a 90s supercar, which are terrifying machines. And I kind of got the back end a little bit out, and then you just propel it down the straight, went about 150-odd down the streets. Yeah, it's a fun car to drive. I highly recommend this car. This is by far my favorite vehicle to drive on the entire list. Because not at the speed in which it's scary to drive it flat out, like the Formula 1 cars. But it's not at the speed where it's slow, like the Ginetta Juniors. It's in that nice little Goldilocks state, and it was incredibly fun to drive. Probably definitely the best run for me personally. Alright, for the 6th place car, it is a bit of a surprise for me, the Expo GT4 car from KTM. I love the look of this car. I first saw its existence in the 24 Hours at Nürburgring when I watched that. And it's a very different looking car, because the KTM Crossbow is what this is based on. Already is a very strange looking car. It looks like a bug of some kind. And this one is just a hard-topped version with more safety features. And I think it looks fantastic. It's certainly the most unique-looking GT4 car out there. And it didn't feel particularly fast when I was driving it. Probably because it has so much grip. It is one of the grippiest cars here that actually has some speed about it. And it didn't quite break the 150 barrier, but it got close to 150.4. And it was the easiest car to drive aside from the Ginetta. And I would argue this is easier because it didn't have any understeer. So, yeah, it was a fantastic car to drive. Not only is it in Project Cars 2, it's coming to Forza tomorrow when I'm recording this. I'm just hoping I can play with it before I have to go in for wisdom teeth removal. Anyway, it's a fantastic car, and it's very fast. I was thinking, oh, maybe it'll be 7th or 8th. But it's faster than a Lamborghini Diablo race car. Now, sure, it's more modern, but it has less power and similar amounts of weight, so it shouldn't be this good. But it is. And it's certainly one of the most unique and fantastic vehicles to drive. We go from GT4 to GT3 with the Acura NSX GT3 car. Again, I've seen a few of these in person, and they are the craziest looking things. The wing is massive compared to the rest of the car. Because all the other GT3 cars, like the base models that they're based off of, have wings on them from the get-go. Now the GTs is a little more subtle, but still. This one has a little lip at the back of the road legal NSX, but this one has a massive wing on the back, so it looks so different than the original. And it is the first vehicle to break the 150 barrier, 147.2, 3 seconds faster than the GT4 car, although not as fun to drive. Not as fun to drive. Good car, pretty good handling, pretty good speed overall. It's designed for the lawn after all. But it doesn't really have quite as much fun. It's not as grippy in the rear end as the GT4 cars. That may be because it has more power. It has almost 600 horsepower as opposed to the GT4's 400 something. But it's a pretty nice car, you know. I'm okay with the NSX. It was at times difficult to drive, just because the oversteer, you can see in there, the back end is hinting of letting go and spinning it around, but it kept itself in check without too many concerns from me, and got a pretty solid lap time while doing it. Sounds pretty nice too. Can't go wrong with GT3 car. We go from a pretty normal looking NSX GT3 car to the craziest Porsche I have ever seen. The Porsche 936. This is a Group 5 or Group 6 car, one of the two. And it's terrifying. It weighs less than 2,000 pounds, has over 600 horsepower, has open cockpit for some reason, which someone must have really had a vendetta against the driver of this car. Because I would not want to be driving this in a closed cockpit, much less an open one. Also, the dials are at a 90-degree angle, so you're going to have to look a little funny while trying to read the dials. And it is quite terrifying, because these hills can displace a car this light and cause it to wheel spin. And this car doesn't need much of an incentive to wheel spin anyway, so yeah, I got into a very close call a few times. I saw it earlier on the downhill chicane after the first corner. Then we have another one there. It's quite squirrely. Probably the most squirrely car I've had around this little stage. And it is very fast. A 144.8 is nothing to slouch at. It's 3 seconds faster than an NSX GT3 car back in the 70s. But it is nowhere near as easy to drive. This last corner I was so terrified because I just lost the back end and I was able to gather it up almost, and we are across the line somehow. You can't be in a motorsport shootout without talking about F1. And this is a 1986 Lotus Formula 1 car. And it's the third fastest vehicle on our list. When a Formula 1 car is the third fastest vehicle, you know you're on a seriously competitive list. And it was the first car in the sub-135s, the 133.3. And it is very fast and very scary. It has the, the RS-17 from Forza 7. Driving that is terrifying because it's just left, right, super twitchy. This is a similar prospect. It is so fast, you don't know what you're doing. And in cockpit view, it is terrifying because you're going 160 around corners where you shouldn't be normally going 160. And you're able to brake, and you have to corner, and you have to look out for the wall, you get very close to the wall, you panic, and you're in the middle of the road, and you're missing the apex, and you're almost hitting the other wall. And it's just going by so fast. And you don't know what to do, and it has no assist whatsoever. And it spits all of the fire as you're driving. It is a crazy car. The fact I didn't die while driving it is incredible, because it is just so difficult to drive, because you have to be alert every millisecond, and if you're a tenth of a second late into a corner, you're gonna crash into the wall and die. But when you get it right, it does make for an incredibly fast stage time that only gets you through. Second place will go to the incredibly fast and crazy Mercedes Sauber C9. This Group C Le Mans car has a twin turbocharged V8 producing many hundreds of horsepower. I think it's like 800, 900 horsepower. It's stupid fast. It goes 250 down the straightaways of Le Mans. They actually had to change the track because these cars were going way too fast. You see here it's going 183 around that corner. That is terrifying. We'll get to what happens when you get that wrong later on. But the Sauber is in second place 2 seconds faster than the Formula 1 car from the same era. That's impressive when you're faster than an open wheeler. Doing a 131.9. And it was actually a little more easier to drive. I don't know what it is. It's faster than the Formula 1 car. I'm not sure if it's the open cockpit of the Formula 1 car or what, but it just feels easier to drive. And the noise is incredible. I've always loved the Group C noise. So Sauber, the rotary 787B, the Toyota, all that stuff is fantastic. And it is a bit wheel spinny, as you might expect from wheel drive, hundreds of horsepower. But when you get into the ground, it can be very loud, very fast, and very fun. And the fastest car of the day is the Marek LMP1 car. Never heard of this, didn't even know it existed, must have only raced once, because I've never seen it at Le Mans. But it is a top-tier LMP prototype, all-wheel drive, hybrid system. It's got the kinetic energy recovery system, so anytime you brake, like say, coming up in a little bit, right about now, it is recovering that energy and feeding it into the hybrid system, which gives you more power. And I love Project Cars 2 gives you that feature, and it uses it, unlike another racing game on a track that has hybrid cars that I'm not going to name, that doesn't use a kinetic energy recovery system. Hint, hint, wink, wink, turn 10. What? Anyway, it's a very fast car, all-wheel drive, hundreds of horsepower, and lots of aerodynamics makes it relatively easy to drive, you know? you can go flat out a fair bit of corners. Now, I was being a little more cautious, because this is the first car I'm in, and luckily, if you go off the track on this, it'll be very easy to find where you are. Look for the giant safety jack on fire, and you'll be able to find the crash. But yeah, very fast car, 127.9 for car to break the 130s. Now, one thing I would like to say about the LMP1 car, when I was doing a practice run, I thought I could go flat out around the corner. But no, you see, the aerodynamics had a different idea, and decided I should get a wheelie and crash into the wall. You see, I didn't know what happened because in cockpit view, so I rewinded it, and yeah, the aerodynamics had a bit of a problem. That was I had to let off. I couldn't go flat out. It just did a wheelie. Oops. So I guess it's not really that surprising that a all-wheel drive LMP car would be the victor, but I thought it was very interesting. We had the Ford GT40 from 1967 going faster than a modern-day Corvette Z06. We had a GT4 car less than 4 seconds off of a GT3 car, and we got to see that a LMP1 car from that time frame of, what, 2014, 2013, is actually capable of doing a wheelie if you drive over a hill. You know, these are all very important scientific pieces of information that we need to know as a species. Yeah, obviously, like I said earlier, you're not expecting the Junior to beat the LMP1 car, but I thought it was interesting, and I think it threw up some interesting results. Yeah, I'm quite pleased with that. I am going to go to Goodwood someday, god damn it, but I will. Even if it's after college, I will go. I'm not missing it, again, by 12 hours. I'm still mad about that, but you know what? We're gonna focus on the fact that a Lamborghini GTR race car was beaten by a KTM that no one's ever heard of. So that's gonna be it for this episode of Project Cars 2. I'll be back with more